No matter where you go in the world, chances are you'll find someone who speaks English. As it is both the most spoken language in the world and the language of international business, it makes sense that many are seeking to learn it. But learning English isn't all about assuming formality. You may have entirely different reasons for wanting to learn this common tongue. You could be interested in reading a book by your favorite international author, or want to watch your favorite film without subtitles, or merely hope to stay in touch with a long-lost friend. Whatever your reasons, studying the language is an enjoyable hobby and one that will help your mind to grow. Alternatively, you may be hoping to provide learning resources for a class or a friend looking to improve his or her own command of English. With a lexicon of more than 750,000 words, the English language can be intimidating. However, English is related to a variety of other international languages, which, depending on your own native tongue, can make things easier. And English has quite an interesting history, one that spans wars, countries, and religions, so chances are there are semantic similarities to a language you are familiar with. There's no need to be hesitant, nervous, or flat-out scared of trying to learn English. With so many language learning resources available to you in this digitized world, you'll be speaking like a native in no time at all. Read on to learn some easy and actionable steps for those who want to learn English. Before you can even start to learn English, you'll want to set some goals and benchmarks. Goals will not only help you develop an overall learning strategy, they will also help you hold yourself accountable. Goals should be dependent on your language level and access to resources, such as organized classes or the ability to study abroad. They should also consider the different components of gaining language proficiency, such as building your vocabulary, pronunciation, reading comprehension, and writing skill. Goals are good for anyone learning a language, whether it's you or your students. Below are some English learning objectives that language students can get excited about. Beginner. Have a basic conversation about your school or some other specific topic, and be ready to answer basic questions on the topic. Intermediate. Watch a movie in English without subtitles. Advanced. Read articles from reputable English newspapers and stand ready to hold a broad conversation about what has been read. Alternatively, goals involving language study don't need to be so formal. For example, are you planning a trip and simply want to know basic words to help you get around? How about learning English just so you can understand movies while improving your listening skills? Remember, you don't have to be a strict English grammarian to gain a clear understanding of the language, so design your goals to be both attainable and geared toward the way you want to use the language. One of the best ways to become exposed to new vocabulary words is to make sure to consume your content in the target language in a variety of formats. People communicate differently depending on the platform they are using. For example, those who chat on social media do so in a much more colloquial and conversational language than do the authors of traditional literature, or even of newspaper coverage. Understanding the ways native speakers communicate in different formats is key to helping you gain your own grasp of the language. With this in mind, try to consume as much content as you possibly can. Everything from in-depth pieces by academics and thought leaders to song lyrics, blogs, social media posts, newspaper and magazine articles, and more. Review vocabulary words you don't understand and pay attention to how native speakers structure their sentences, their paragraphs, and their word choices. Just getting your eyes in front of an English text is key to learning how to distinguish between words, choose a proper sentence structure, and address multiple other grammatical factors. Knowing a language is one thing, but being able to communicate in it is another. Put your learning into action by practicing with native English speakers. Having simple, everyday conversations will make you more comfortable with all facets of learning a language. Pronunciation, circumlocution, using other similar words when you don't know or can't recall the word itself, comprehension, and the art of translating your thoughts into a response. Once you are past the beginner stage, we recommend conversing with English speakers from an array of different English-speaking countries. This is because citizens of each, the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, etc., have their own unique way of speaking English. Hearing it spoken different ways will familiarize you with the language's idiosyncrasies. If you don't know any native English speakers, don't worry. There are plenty of online language classes to help you along. It can be exceptionally valuable to learn English from someone who has been specifically trained to teach it. A formal English class will allow you to learn the language in an organized fashion, helping you to continuously build upon your strengths and incorporate gains you've already made. A class can be tailored and customized to help you meet your individual goals, whatever they may be. In addition, it can provide extra resources when you can't seem to grasp a particular grammatical concept or a tricky phrase. Working with a specialized English teacher can be particularly helpful because they have had to learn the language as well. This means they can provide guidance in the fundamentals, as they most likely have struggled with the very things you struggle with. Even if you're only learning English for an upcoming trip, you can become a successful language learner by writing your thoughts down in a variety of formats. While yes, reading and speaking aloud are vital components in mastering the language, writing can be a great way to truly process everything you learn. Challenge yourself to write on a variety of topics, using the same themes you study in class. For example, if you are focusing on a specific grammatical theme or convention, use those very words to create a fun short story. Or, if you are learning sentence and verb structure, consider creating a blog documenting the experience. If your English is advanced, consider reading articles from the New York Times or other reputable newspapers. Newspaper articles can be especially beneficial in helping students learn English because such a wide variety of topics are covered. After you're done writing, ask a native English speaker or teacher to read what you've written. They can provide constructive feedback that will help you learn still more. An important part of learning a language is gaining command of its vocabulary. And what better way to reinforce this than by doing word puzzles, especially those from the New York Times. Crossword puzzles allow you to expand your vocabulary, practice your spelling, and train your brain to start thinking in another language. The true testament to successful mastery of a language occurs when you can think in that language without even noticing it. When you hear something in English, you don't want to waste time translating it, arriving at a response, and translating it back into English. This will only exhaust and confuse you. Use the crossword as a small yet helpful exercise in reading a question in English and responding without too much delay. The minute you embark on your English journey, you are bound to have questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. It's important to become comfortable in knowing what you don't know, and a simple question to your English teacher or a native speaker can make all the difference in the world. Remember, everyone was a beginner at some point. You'll be glad you mustered up the courage to ask, and you never know what lessons you'll learn. There's nothing like putting what you've learned into action. Going abroad and experiencing the English language firsthand can be a great way to not only improve your skills, but to bolster your self-confidence. Language learning can often be expedited by going abroad, since you are forced to communicate with others who may not know your first language. You will have no option but to use your arsenal of English, no matter how rudimentary you may feel it is. Don't give up and don't feel embarrassed. We're all human, and native speakers will surely appreciate it when you approach them in their native language rather than assuming they know yours. As mentioned before, there are a multitude of different dialects and word meanings throughout the native English-speaking world, so be sure to brush up on the regional details of the country you are visiting. When broken up into small steps, learning a language isn't all that overwhelming. Take it slow and make sure to remember why you're doing it. At the end of the day, it's to have fun. Learning a language shouldn't feel tedious. Go out and enjoy it. Just imagine the doors that will now be open to you. Hello, my name is Jack. I am a student of English, and this is my story. I want to tell you about my life in London and about my fantastic teacher. You can read my story and learn English with me. It is a beautiful summer day, and I am traveling on a train. There are two ladies sitting opposite me. I don't know them, but from their conversation, I know they are foreigners. I don't understand much of what they are saying, but I know they speak English. I also want to speak English, but I am a beginner. I don't know many words. However, this is an opportunity for me to speak English. I decide to try to speak to the ladies. I say some sentences in my basic English, and they understand what I say. I don't know many words, and I speak slowly, but the ladies are kind and patient. I am able to have a simple conversation with them. I tell them that I want to learn English. They are happy when they hear that, and they tell me that they are from England. They are traveling home from a conference. We speak for about 10 minutes, then it's time for me to get off the train. While I am thanking them for speaking with me, they give me their address and phone number. They tell me I can visit them in England if I want to, and then we say goodbye. This is how my journey in learning English begins. After this meeting, I decide to work on my English skills more. I translate texts and watch films in English. I work on my English for 2 hours almost every day. In 6 months, I'm able to speak quite well. It is great, but I want to know more. I decide to go to London to study English there. In London, I choose a school which I expect is good. I really look forward to my first lesson. The lesson is on Monday. On my first day at school, I meet my teacher and the other students in the class. My teacher is a young lady. She is very nice. She asks everybody to introduce themselves and say where they are from. Then the lesson starts. Our teacher asks us how we studied English before and what we suppose is the best method to learn English. I tell my teacher that I like translating songs and other texts, but I don't know what the best method to learn English is. Our teacher says that she will teach us a very effective method, which is based on using the language. Our teacher tells us that we will not have to study and we will not use textbooks. We will immerse ourselves in the language. It is great for me since I don't like studying and I don't like textbooks. Then we speak about what we should focus on when we learn a new language. Our teacher tells us we need languages for communication. Languages help us say ideas and understand ideas. So when you learn a new language, the best way to learn is to use it for exchanging ideas. This is what we will do in our course. Most of the time, we will speak. You spoke a lot when you learned your native language as a child, and you should speak a lot when you learn English as an adult. Unfortunately, many students spend a lot of time on memorizing new words or learning grammar rules. They don't use English for speaking. They study about the language, but they don't use it very much. Of course, you need to learn new words and new grammar, but you don't actually have to study them. During this course, I will show you a very simple and effective way on how to learn new words and grammar. I like what our teacher says. Our lesson continues. We speak about our hobbies and what we do in our free time. We speak in pairs or with our teacher. It is great, and we speak for the entire lesson. I enjoy it so much. I have never spoken so much English during one lesson in my life. I have never learned this way before. I am happy and I look forward to the next lesson. I am happy and I look forward to the next lesson. How to learn words. I go to school on Tuesday again. One of the students asks a question that is interesting for me. She asks, "What is the best way to learn new words?" Our teacher says, "There are many things you can do to learn new words. I will tell you what is statistically the most effective way for learning new words. It is reading. When people read, when they learn a new language, they learn twice as fast as people who don't read. It is good to read for at least 30 minutes every day. I want to show you what you should do if you want to get the maximum gains from reading. First, it is very important that the book or text which you read is interesting for you. It is important that you enjoy reading. The book can be a nice story, or it can have some useful information for your job or your hobby. Don't read a text that isn't interesting for you. It is also good to read a text in which you know most of the words. When you don't know many words, you can get frustrated. You always want to enjoy everything you do while using English. It is good to choose a text which is interesting and also suitable for your level. When you read the text and you see a word that you don't understand, you get a dictionary and you look up the word. Then you continue reading. You don't have to write the word anywhere. You don't have to make a list of new words. You don't have to try to remember the word. You only focus on understanding the text. When it is clear to you what the word means, you continue reading. Anytime there is a new word for you, you do the same. Reading also has another great advantage. When you read, you learn new words, and you also learn how every word is connected to other words in the sentence. Then you can see how to link the words correctly. This way of learning new words is very effective. Give it a try, and you will see how fast you can learn new words. Then we continue with the lesson. We speak about the situation in England and about the best jobs for students. This is good for me because I want to have a job. I want to do something after my class. I ask other students if they know where I can find a job. They tell me that I should go to a job center. The job center offers a lot of jobs for students. This is good for me, and I am happy that I know where I can find a job. When my day at school is finished, I go to the job center. I don't know what jobs I can do, so I ask the lady at the job center what the best job for a student is. The lady tells me that they have some good jobs for students. She tells me that I can be a cleaner or a waiter in a cafe. I tell the lady I have no experience doing these jobs. She tells me that my English is good enough to work at the cafe. The training is not difficult, and I can have more chances to speak English than being a cleaner. She tells me that I can start my job on Thursday. It is all good for me. I'm happy that I have a job where I can practice English. How to learn pronunciation. On Wednesday, I go to school again. There is one student in the class who is quieter than the other students. He is from South Korea. When our teacher asks if we have any questions for her, this student from Korea says that he has a question. He says that he has a big problem with pronunciation. He knows that his pronunciation is not very good, but he doesn't know how to improve it. He doesn't speak much because he doesn't want others to listen to his bad pronunciation. He says that he reads and watches films in English a lot. He understands very well, but he also wants to improve his speaking. He asks if there is something he could do to improve his pronunciation. When my teacher hears this, she says, "Okay, I will tell you something about pronunciation and how to practice it. I will also teach you a great technique that can help all of you to be better at pronunciation. First, we have to look at why students have problems with pronunciation. When we speak, we have to move our mouth. We have to use muscles in our mouth. We all do that. The problem is that when you speak English, Sometimes you use your muscles the same way you would use them in your native language. Then, your pronunciation is different from the pronunciation of native speakers. This happens to many students who learn English. Almost everybody has a bit different pronunciation than they should have. In fact, it is not a big problem because usually people understand what you want to say even though your pronunciation is not perfect. However, you can work on your pronunciation and make it better. There is a great technique that can help you a lot. The name of this technique is shadowing. The technique is very simple. When you do shadowing, you simply copy the sound that you hear immediately after hearing it. When children learn their first language, they learn it by copying. They copy after their parents again and again until their pronunciation is perfect. You can learn English pronunciation in the same way. This is what you can do. Take some video or audio recording that is not very fast and that you understand very well. You listen and you copy what you hear when you hear it. That is all. Then our teacher goes to www.youtube.com and she searches for the shadowing technique. She finds a good video where the shadowing technique is well demonstrated. We watch the video. Then we all try to do shadowing for about 3 minutes. Then our teacher tells us, shadowing is also good when you are preparing for a presentation you have to give in English and you want to have your pronunciation as close as possible to the pronunciation of native speakers. Before the presentation, you can go to some place where you are alone and you can do shadowing for about 10 minutes. You will see how much it will help you to have better pronunciation during the presentation. This is very interesting for me. I haven't heard about this technique before. When the lesson finishes, I go to the school reception.